Today is the 8th of February, episode 13 of Coach Potatoes, the unluckiest episode of all. We are back again. I'm back again with my co-host Dallas. We're going to talk about some news topics today, get into the Super Bowl, get into the Hall of Fame, get into the NFL award show, and then end off the show on that one. But let's go first to the news of the week. What's the first news topic, Dallas?
Well, I think in the hunt of head coaches, it's getting pretty narrow, and I don't want to speak for both of us, but Nick Sirianni just isn't the guy for the Eagles.
All right. Let's slow down. Let's give the people the context.
Yeah.
I think some context is deserved here. I would highly recommend watching Nick Sirianni's initial press conference. Either way, I'm going to sum it up a little bit. I'll give it a couple highlights. I'll give you the floor too, so you can mention some moments. But so Nick Sirianni's in his first press conference, telling us about how we're going to have complimentary football for other special teams and offenses and defenses that are easy for us to learn. And when it's easy for us to learn, that makes it easy for us to win. Something along those lines. Yeah. It's not what you want to hear out of your head coach. It sounds like a 7th grade speech.
Not only in the delivery, but what you are telling everyone. I mean, I don't know how you can think any of that is good. If it's easy for you to learn, it's easy for anyone to learn.
Exactly. It doesn't. It sounds like he's just reading like his book report. I wrote down that I wanted to talk about my first ever speech I gave in middle school. It was terrible. I gave better speeches in the 4th grade. I had like this 4-H speech I had to give in the 4th grade. Knocked it out of the park. I talked about how to build a skateboard.
Wow.
Fucking dropped panties and took names. That's what I'm talking about.
Do you still have that footage?
No footage, I don't think.
Okay, but do you have the audio?
I don't think I have audio.
Okay, if we ever find it,
I have this skateboard.
Well, we have to make skateboards on like some sort of live stream or something if we can ever find that. Yeah.
Yeah, X Games is a sport. We can definitely do that.
Yeah.
I'm definitely down. But yeah, killed that one. Knocked it out of the park. 7th grade speech class. I had to do a speech on it was called the, what do they call it? I think it was the Story of My Life project or something like that.
Okay.
And it was based off that One Direction song. It was like, the story of my life, I'll take a hold. I don't know. It sounds like Christian pop mixed with boy band angst. I hate that song. Regardless, I had to do a song where I had to come up with I had to do a project where I had to come up with 5 different songs that like were the story of my life.
Yeah.
So
your 5 direction of the One Direction song.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I can't even remember. It was probably like an Aerosmith, the Nickelback song.
Wow.
I think the Nickelback song was Something in Your Mouth. First song off the album Dark Horse. That's a fact. You can look it up, by the way. First song in the album Dark Horse, Something in Your Mouth.
That's deep Nickelback lore.
For an aside, I also have been to a Nickelback concert.
That's right.
I have.
I love that you wear it with pride.
I have a Nickelback shirt from the concert. I need to find that. I think it's a medium, but I need to find it. Regardless, so this speech that I gave was awful, and it's very reminiscent of we have meows already, early show meows. Is just so reminiscent of this Nick Sirianni speech. It just feels like he's trying to like read the script that he thought he memorized, but clearly he didn't. I feel you, Nick Sirianni, but you're a head coach. You have to be good at speaking.
Yeah. Whether it's lack of try on his part to get the speech down or adapt it in a way you could understand, or you're just bad with talking in front of people, it's something a head coach needs, and unless it improves, he doesn't have it.
Yeah. I don't know how he's going to be able to bring this back around and show himself to be like a true leader. I don't know. Maybe it's his first time like fright, but like You don't want to see your head coach looking like he's lost, already. He shouldn't be like all scared and like on the first opportunity he gets to show himself, to prove himself. He's already looks like he's I don't want to say a coward, that's rude. But,
Yeah.
but he looks like stage fright. And it's like, you can't be stage fright on the biggest, this is your big moment to prove yourself,
Yeah, and it shows his lack of experience in these sort of shoes that he's expected to fill. Former Colts offensive coordinator for 2 years, and that's kind of his biggest accolade. He's done other things, but to do those things and then finally have the camera on you and this is what you give them is at least a telling concern of what's to come, I think. Hopefully he proves me wrong. Actually, hopefully he doesn't fuck the Eagles. But
Yeah, Eagles can die.
but, we'll see how it pans out for old Nick.
Yeah, you know what? I won't root against him, but I won't root for him. So, you know what? Regardless of what happens with old Sirianni, old Pastrami, wish you the best in your personal life, not in your sports life.
Yeah, brotherly love, if you will.
Yeah. Moving on to a little NBA topic real quick. We don't have much NBA news this week, but one thing we wanted to mention is LeBron James getting in a fight with Daddy Carlos. Probably the most interesting battles of all time. I think these were two titans that we were just waiting to get a good look at, making sure that these two, war criminals were going to end up having a true battle for once, as the cat has been relocated for excessive meowing. 5-yard penalty, I'm sure.
Sometimes it has to happen, but I was listening. It's a match. It's a dream matchup.
You know what? I've been waiting for Daddy Carlos to finally speak up. He did.
Yeah.
His personal, to say the least. What
would you
call her?
Wife.
Is that his wife?
Yeah, that's his.
Oh yeah, they are married.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. His
intimidating mid-20-year-old wife.
Yes, I'm sure they met on eHarmony.
Christian Mingles.
Christian Mingle, or at the back of an alley in between two rundown clubs.
Yeah, maybe it's Las Vegas and they both need some money and they found it together in some alleyway.
You know what? He took a gamble and, he hit that slot machine. He found himself a nice woman. Regardless, LeBron James called Daddy Carlos old steroid ass.
Great line.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
What happened though is Daddy Carlos stood up, started talking to LeBron James, saying, talking crap to him. I think Daddy Carlos is I want to say it was what's the team? The Hawks. I think it was the Atlanta Hawks. Mm-hmm. And I think he's just a big Atlanta Hawks fan who always talks crap, and LeBron James is I'm not having it. So they had some words back and forth. LeBron James ends up calling him old steroid ass. Great nickname. And old steroid ass is promptly walked off the court. His wife struggles to walk off the court. I think she called LeBron an Instagram live video afterwards a pussy ass bitch.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
So I don't even know what to say in this story.
Yeah. Going into it, we didn't think that it would be such a quick matchup. LeBron came in just like the athlete he is and how he tackles everything, just getting his point across. Old steroid ass, gold, and then just having them removed. I mean, round one, it's over.
Yeah, I'm thinking for the next big matchup I'd like to see is I'm gonna have to go Ninja and Tom Brady.
That's a big one. I didn't realize we were going across esports as well. My mind immediately went to Drake and LeBron, but
Drake and LeBron. I like that one. I feel like Drake though probably has more beef with Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah.
Just because Kawhi Leonard was a Raptors player and then left. So the cat just won't give it up this week. The cat is just not having it this week.
Yeah, do apologize for any sort of cat interruption coughs. We are a house that's feeling a little ill and a cat that's a little angry this week.
Poor cat. It's hard being a cat. I understand.
It's a tough life. But
Yeah, but I think going back to the topic at hand.
Ninja, that's a good fight.
Yeah, and if Daddy Carlos is able to make it back into the bracket somehow, I'd love to see Ninja versus Daddy Carlos.
Yeah, it's hard to come back from such a quick match, but I think we're not through seeing Daddy Carlos.
Charlie D'Amelio too. I think she definitely could have some beef with some NBA players. Maybe even Rob Gronkowski. Who knows?
Oh, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, just them like boxing it out. Great.
The sports world can only hope.
I'm really rooting for it. Let's go finally. Or no, we have two more topics actually. They're kind of related though. Starting off with the Titans and Rams trade from a few years ago, the 2016 one. This isn't a necessarily like recent story, but Dallas has kind of wanted to summarize this trade real quick, talk about what the Titans got and what the Rams got in exchange for this 2016 draft trade. So go ahead and tell us, Dallas.
Yeah, I think it sort of piggybacks on what we were talking about last week, and we'll get into it again this week, about the value of draft picks, the trade for a quarterback, or just trade for first overall pick. The Rams, to get Jared Goff, essentially gave up a first rounder, 2 second rounders, a third, another first rounder, and another third. You never know what kind of capital you'll get from draft stock. Mm-hmm. But in this one, Titans received Jack Conklin. He ends up going to a Pro Bowl, and now he's playing for Cincinnati and part of that rebuild that's going well.
He's playing for the Browns.
Sorry, that's right. Other Ohio team. Austin Johnson hasn't been a huge asset, but he's someone who's stayed as a consistent starting role, so that's nice.
It's good to have a big guy who's just consistent.
And consistent big guys. 2016 pick 45 is Derrick Henry. I mean, if there's ever a year to show you a second round pick can equal just a difference maker, it's King Henry.
Yeah.
Those are just some of the guys. Corey Davis, Jonnu Smith, also part of that the next year. First overall round, pick 5, Corey Davis.
Gosh. Yeah, y'all walked away with a lot there. And I think what's even funnier is if you look at what the Rams received in return.
Yeah, I mean, Jared Goff, pick 1, and then pick 4, or round 4, I should say, pick 113. They did get a wide receiver, pair, Pharaoh Cooper, Mike Thomas with a trade there. Not really anything that stayed with the longevity of the team.
Exactly.
And then a round 7 tight end that I couldn't tell you where he's at.
Yeah, Tamarick Hemingway, whoever that is, exactly. So you really look at this trade and you see how the Titans just walked away with the King's bounty.
Yeah, it's sort of just a reflection on what this offseason is going to be for a lot of teams. I felt the need to get that out after talking about the Rams' last first-round pick and the roots it had with the Titans. But it also brings up an interesting point about current quarterback trades.
Yeah, and moving into that, look at where... right now, Russell Wilson. Last week we talked about how Kirk Cousins and Aaron Rodgers had people looking into it after the Matt Stafford trade. This week, the new one is Russell Wilson, maybe being the next one to be moved on the chessboard.
Yeah, I mean, he's getting older, and honestly, with other players being traded away or traded for in Seattle, I truly don't think there's any player sacred to Pete Carroll. So it's interesting. It's interesting that there's desire to get him out of Seattle, and that it's even being discussed internally by the Seahawks.
Yeah. I think it's hilarious that they would trade away their only asset beyond like DK Metcalf. Like DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, Russell Wilson. What else do you have on your team? Go ahead. No, go ahead now.
I think if they do decide to do this, they can't deny it's a rebuild. They've been interchanging gears for a long time, with Richard Sherman going, with the Legion of Boom finally just being completely disassembled. No one left from that whole group. I mean, it's just a different Seahawks team now than the ones that have been going to Super Bowls.
Exactly, yeah. They have not been the same since Coach Dan Quinn left, since Richard Sherman left, Cam Chancellor retired, Earl Thomas flipped the whole team off and left. Who was the other piece in that? I can't even remember the last guy.
It's a blank for me.
Oh man, there was one more guy on the. But regardless, the big pieces are gone, and it's not the same team anymore. And to even think about trading away your centerpiece now, Russell Wilson, it's like,
yeah,
what are you gonna have? It's like where you're. Sorry to interrupt.
No,
but
you're good.
It's like where you walk away with the Lions now. They have a bunch of draft picks that they'll probably whiff on, and then they also have a quarterback who's very meh, who will probably be bad at a bad team. So, I'm interested to see where the Seahawks go with this. But Dallas was mentioning before the show is that this is a good parallel to the Titans and Rams trade.
Yeah, it sort of shows what a quarterback was worth in the draft and when he's a prospect compared to getting a quarterback that has already proved it. And the intricacy of introducing dead cap space for bad players. One guy that I think will be like that, and we'll talk about him during this, is old Philadelphia's current Carson Wentz situation. Whoever picks him up, he's getting paid. But
yeah.
we'll touch on that in a second. I do want to just sort of give the current topic its conversation. Russell Wilson, you're not going to get dead cap space. And, with Matthew Stafford, getting him out of there and getting the dead space costs 2 first-round picks. If you're not even introducing dead cap space and it's all talent, I think, what do you give up for Russell Wilson? 3 first-round picks and a couple seconds? Is that enough?
I don't know. Because I don't think you can trade a top 3 quarterback in the NFL,
Yeah.
Maybe he fell to 4 this year by the end of the year because he didn't do great in the playoffs and had a little bit of an interception problem the latter half of the season. But you take week 5 Russell Wilson, and that's who I'm getting. It's like you can't trade for that. There's not enough. You need to trade me your whole draft and half of next year's draft. I would need at least 2 first rounders. I'd need the whole draft for 1 year, and then maybe a second and a third the next year. It's like, how can I ever be compensated for that level of talent?
Yeah, it's interesting that there's a desire for Russell Wilson from other teams. It almost seems like he wouldn't be a guy that you would conceive to even ask for because he's the face of a franchise. Mm-hmm. I would dare to say, maybe our tinfoil hats are on during these segments. There's already been some internal discussion to other teams that he's available. They gave up a lot for Jamal Adams, and they need to recoup that. And honestly, a quarterback you're paying a lot of money to, that maybe you don't have the team around. Maybe they saw what Matthew Stafford did, or at least what the organization did by getting rid of Matthew Stafford and recouping what they could after getting a quarterback that didn't have the team around him to make it all the way to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Maybe they're just doing that before it gets to a Stafford worth. Russell Wilson is, one of the biggest quarterbacks, which is the best position in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
And it like Deshaun Watson, what do you give for that? And that is this offseason. Do you wait until you see a team that needs a quarterback next season and just get a king's bounty, or you do it now and get something in this draft?
Yeah, I don't know. It's the same conundrum I face with Deshaun Watson, because any given Sunday, Deshaun Watson, Russell Wilson, Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes, they're all competing for the number 1 quarterback of that week. It's not like it's the same quarterbacks every week. That's the first one. It's not like, Tom Brady's number 1 every week. He's might be the greatest of all time in many people's eyes. But as well, one week Patrick Mahomes plays better, he's the GOAT of that week. I'll give him week 14, 2020 NFL regular season. Patrick Mahomes was the best. And when you're one of those quarterbacks who's in contention for the best, even Josh Allen, I should not leave his name out, but when you're one of those quarterbacks in contention every week for the best quarterback of that week, I don't know if they're tradable. It seems it hasn't been a thing until, as of late. But you look at the Matt Stafford and Jared Goff trade; those guys are never in the number one topic.
No. Well, Stafford, I would like to give credit to him. He had, when given good receivers like Golden Tate and others that I'm forgetting besides Calvin Johnson, he can put up numbers and be that guy.
Yeah.
But as of recently, no, he has not been that guy.
Yeah, and I don't think that he ever will be in compete. And maybe he'll have 1 week where he's like top 3.
Yeah.
But I think he's a hovers between the 5 and 10 spot every week. I think that's where he is, which isn't bad.
No.
Not everyone's the best quarterback in the league. Not everyone's LeBron James. Not everyone's Tom Brady. Not everyone's Patrick Mahomes.
I think his company is like Matt Ryan, which is very good company.
Yeah, it's a great company to be in. Regardless, though, it's not like these guys who were traded aren't like the Russell Wilson types, aren't like the Aaron Rodgers types. They're not in that conversation every week. So I just don't think that we will see a blockbuster trade like that happen this year.
I don't know if we will, but I think it's been on a lot of teams' topics, more so now than ever, and I don't know what's caused that, but there were reports in this offseason that Josh Allen was a trade target. During the Matthew Stafford trade, some sources are leaking that they wanted Aaron Donald as part of that.
Yeah.
Not a quarterback, but still the best at his position and absolute talent. It just seems like no name will be off the trade topic, or at least it almost feels like you're playing a game of Madden and just going through every single team and just seeing, can I get anything from you?
Exactly. And you know what? I think there'll probably be some more interesting trades, but I just can't see any like the huge guys who are like quarterbacks being traded, because it's so foundational to your team.
Deshaun Watson, you don't think will be traded?
I don't think so, sadly.
Do you think he'll stay a Texan?
Not willingly.
Wow.
I think he'll probably hold out.
Yeah. That's an interesting take. I think he gets traded, so we'll see.
I hope for him.
Yeah.
But the Texans have made it very clear they're not interested in trading him, and maybe, they're just puffing up their chest, oh, I'm the bigger, badder guy kind of thing, but regardless, I'm rooting for him, but I don't think so.
No. I think it's a tactic to try to get more than a team thinks Deshaun's worth, and that could be a couple years of first-round picks, a couple seconds, who knows, and some talent, absolute talent.
I say the conversation starts with 3 first-rounders.
It would be interesting to see maybe Seattle put a package together with Russell Wilson.
I feel like you're exchanging equal cards at that point.
But, I mean, Deshaun's just unhappy.
Yeah, who knows? And Russ is just constantly happy, so we'll see what happens with that kind of thing. But I feel like we've kind of, did you have anything else you wanted to give on this topic first?
No, I just think it'll be interesting to sort of see, at least talk about what the Titans got for a first overall pick then, what that guy got in this current market, and then what talents, younger talents, older talents, just better talents, will get later on. Because I think Deshaun Watson goes, Russell Wilson could go. Yeah. I think this will be a lucrative trade year. More than ever. And DeAndre Hopkins went last year for a second. I think this trade offseason will be insane.
Yeah, we'll see. I'm interested to see. I think it'll probably be a little tame. I think people are going to be worried about the cap and be kind of scared about that. But regardless, we'll see what happens with it. But I feel like we could talk this one into the ground all day. So let's go next to the Super Bowl. This is our little topic where I'm going to do a quick little recap. We'll both do a quick little recap of the game. Starting off with Tom Brady winning 7 out of 10 championships officially. Yeah. That's winning 7 championships is so crazy. Any sport.
MVP of 5 of them.
Yeah. MVP 5 times. General just league MVP 3 times. Has so many accolades. Super Bowl accolades. I think he has either 3 or I think it's 3 more Super Bowl wins than the next quarterback.
I think it's
It's Joe Montana.
3-2, yeah.
'Cause he has
It is
4.
Joe Montana.
He has
I couldn't
4.
remember if he had 4 or 5. And he has more than any organization. Sorry, Patriots fans. He did it for someone else.
Yeah, it's so crazy to see it again. And, I think a lot of people are going to walk away saying, oh, Tom Brady's the reason for all the Patriots' success. But whatever. I don't care about that. That's, little aside. But regardless, this was just such a huge game. Just watching the Chiefs come down to earth was so fascinating to me because I can't stand it when it looks easy. I wanted it to look like a tough game that they had to slog through. And I think this is the first time that the Chiefs really, besides the Raiders game this year when they lost, they really faced a tough matchup.
Yeah, I think in the first half, Mahomes was pressured on over 50% of every single snap he took. For a pass, he, I think, didn't complete his first 6 attempts. I mean, he looked not even bad, which was why it was a good game, because he did whatever he could and still pulled off some impressive throws.
Yeah, and speaking of the specifics, I think we should just go ahead and go into the rest of this topic, the legit versus shit part of this.
I think you're right.
Where we wanted to kind of highlight a few of the interesting player groups and coaches that we found to be like kind of profound in the story of this game, if you will. And if you want to just go ahead and tell us your first guy.
I would love to. It's actually every guy on the Bucs defense. That sort of risk-it-all mentality of blitzing Patrick Mahomes could really bite you with Tyreek Hill burning you on the outside, or Travis Kelce sort of getting open, or just using his sheer physical assets to become open. The Bucs defense didn't let him get a touchdown.
They did not quiver at all, and I felt like they used those safeties to blanket the Tyreek Hill speed.
Yeah, they kept 2 people on Tyreek most of the time. They kept 2 people on Travis Kelce at most of the time. Good blitzes up front with good zone coverage. It's hard to stop Patrick Mahomes. Every NFL team has proven that. But it was a huge plate for the entire game, for the entire defense.
Yeah.
They just did it on every cylinder.
Yeah, it was super impressive to watch this whole defense just totally shut down the best offense we've seen in like forever.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever seen an offense where the Chiefs offense where it looks so easy. I mean, like, you have the greatest show on turf. There was all these like great offenses through the years, 2007 Patriots, even the Titans offense this year there was nothing that I've seen historically present or we'll see in the future that's as electric as this Chiefs offense has been. It's just, you'd never count them out of the game. I didn't even count them out of the game until the 2-minute warning.
No, to sort of solidify what you're saying, people should go watch the AFC Championship game. I believe it was year before last against the Texans, where they were down 4 touchdowns at half and came back and won it, shut them out in the second. Scored, I think, 5 or 6 consistent touchdowns on drives. You cannot count that offense out.
Yeah, totally ruined Deshaun Watson's probably only chance of getting beyond the divisional round. It was brutal to watch that game, as I am a Watson homer. Regardless, though, speaking of the Chiefs, I want to talk about their defense.
Yeah.
I'm going to give them a shit.
Yeah.
That defense could not stop the run. There was no pass game help. It seemed like they were probably burned out because they're not used to being on the field that much. And I'll give the Bucs credit as well. They had a good game plan as soon as they were up, they were ready to run the ball. There was no run help at all. Tyrann Mathieu spent most of the game talking rather than actually making big plays. He had 1 tipped interception that ended up being a penalty. So that was, and speaking of penalties, they were so penalty heavy. I think they ended up with 110 penalty yards for the whole team at the end of the night, the whole Chiefs team. It's just not. It was not a good defensive just scheme at all.
No, I don't know what changed from the time they came into Tampa and got a win in the regular season to now, but defensively, yeah, they just didn't get it done. I think on a single level, the run scheme was bad, the pass scheme was bad. You just can't show up to a Super Bowl and expect your talent alone to carry you through 4 quarters.
No, I wasn't not a fan of any of their scheming. Spagnuolo, the defensive coordinator for the Chiefs, just did not come ready to play. Tyrann Mathieu didn't come ready to lead. Hitchens wasn't ready to tackle. It looked bad. Chris Jones and Frank Clark did not play like they did last year at all.
No, Brady had plenty of time, and plenty of players looked frustrated for Kansas City almost immediately after putting up a good hold on the defensive side, creating the first drive for Tampa to be a punt. That was the only time they seemed like a unified team or a band of brothers.
I agree. And go ahead and give us your next highlighted player.
I would have to say on the other side for the Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Although stat line would suggest shit, I have to give him legit just for the sheer effort he put in.
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, but I had the exact same thing.
Incredible. I'm glad we're on the same page there. Just an insane performance by him, honestly. Maybe we won't stay on this topic too long because we agree, and I think a lot of you will agree.
I think it's worth highlighting, though, for sure.
Yeah, falling down backwards, being pulled down to the side on the run. No matter what the Knight threw at him, he still got it to his receivers, sometimes hitting them in the face.
Yeah, that one throw where he was literally horizontal, chucked it probably 40, 50 yards and hit a guy in the face mask and he didn't catch it.
Yeah.
And even Tyreek Hill, when Patrick Mahomes was spinning out trying to get away from a tackler, threw it up, hit Tyreek Hill in the face mask. It bounced off him.
Yeah.
Pringle and Tyreek Hill had a drop. Kelsey had a drop. It's like, you can't drop in the biggest game of the year. You just have to have iron grasp on the ball.
Especially when the quarterback who is throwing it to you is somehow getting it done.
Yeah, you always have to be ready for the ball when you're playing with Patrick Mahomes. It's just, he's going to magically make it appear. And if you haven't realized that yet, these guys are good guys. These are good players who have a lot of accolades now.
Super Bowl players.
Exactly. But at the same time, you have to be ready. I think they were just resting on their laurels. Sammy Watkins was too busy tweeting at the Browns. You beat a team who hadn't been in the playoffs in 20 years. Wow, go you.
Yeah.
The Browns were the underdogs, and they ended up losing the game for a reason. It's just what happens,
Yeah.
And let's be real, you only beat the Chiefs, or you only beat the Browns by less than a touchdown, don't go, talking all this crap when you've only beat the Browns by less than a touchdown and you go face Tom Brady and he makes you cry. He kisses you like he kisses his son,
I do forget the player. I don't think it was Levante David. I think it was one of the younger linebackers on the Buccaneers team. When they won the NFC championship, he started to cry, and Brady just asked him what he was crying for because they had another one to go after. And I think that really sort of shows the different dynamic and sort of energy those teams were taking into the game.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people want to make it out like, oh, Brady's no fun. He's always a competitor. And it's like, at the same time, if you're not always a competitor and you're playing in the NFL, why are you playing?
Yeah, that man's hungry for 2 things, and that's Super Bowl rings and sweet little kissies from his son.
Gosh.
And he'll do whatever it takes.
All right, I wanted to put up a Twitter poll, but I also didn't want to get banned off Twitter.
Okay, I love that. Where's it going?
I was going to say, how many hickeys do you think Tom Brady gave his son? First answer, 7 to match the number of rings. Second answer, 3 to match the number of regular season MVPs. Last answer, 4 to match the number of letters in the first name of Bill Belichick.
I think I'm going to have to go with 5, and that is because it matches the same number as Kraft and Super Bowl MVPs.
That's... Yeah. I agree. I'm sure he learned his hickey technique from Kraft getting massages at the parlor.
We can make a burner Twitter account. That's fine. I don't want to sway any sort of listeners, but that's just to keep it a buck, what I'm going to vote for. But look forward to that in the future, that poll.
Okay, I'm making a poll now. It's going to happen tonight. I'm sorry, Mom. Don't be mad. But regardless, God, my mom listens to this. I got to be careful. Regardless, though. Beyond Tom Brady giving hickeys. What were we talking about?
We were actually just talking about Patrick Mahomes' performance, and we sort of started to talk about the sort of mindset each team went into with what both teams wanted.
And speaking of mindset, I'll just go ahead and segue into my next player, or my next coach, actually. Andy Reid. I'm going to give him a shit with this game. Just in particular, this game, I love Andy Reid, sweetest guy on the planet. Be my grandpa, be my uncle, I don't care, be my grunkle. But he had a shit game plan, in my opinion. It was the same, we're going to be electric, we're going to throw it up, we're going to just let players play. And when you face up against a good defense like this, I felt like he's always been a critical thinker and a good schemer. And it was just weird to see him not have a good scheme this game. There was no run game to be found. You have Clyde Edwards-Helaire back, and you can't figure out how to use him. I know the Bucs have an incredible run game defense, but you didn't give your offensive line any help. Every time Patrick Mahomes dropped back, there was not an extra blocker. You didn't keep Travis Kelce up there. You didn't keep any of your extra tight ends or extra blockers.
Put Le'Veon Bell in. He's sort of shown in the past to be at least a competent pass blocker.
Yeah, put someone out there to help. I think it's just so... it was just a ridiculous plan. I don't have much else to say on Andy Reid. I was just disappointed with his scheme.
I am currently marking out one of my topics just because it's so similar to yours. I just put the Chiefs were at a disadvantage at all areas during the game, and I think it does reflect the head coach position.
I agree.
Even beyond schemes, Andy Reid just did not manage to capture his players back into that moment. They were so hot-headed about taunting or what the other players were doing that there never was a coherent plan for those players to follow, I think, at any point once they lost their poise.
It reminded me of Andy Reid at the Eagles. Because while he's an excellent offensive schemer, at the same time, the Eagles were just so falling apart. Donovan McNabb throwing up while arguing with what's his name? Terrell Davis. Or no, not Terrell Davis.
Owens?
Terrell Owens.
Yeah.
Exactly. And, there was issues with every single member on that team. It's just so frustrating to see all that happen and for history to kind of repeat itself. And it feels like Andy Reid just didn't learn his lesson from that team where even if you're going to be that family guy, you're going to be we're a team, we're going to work together kind of thing. We're going to let our players play. You still have to be a leader and show up in these big moments. And it felt like last year he was.
Yeah.
It felt like, he was, getting all the guys riled up whenever they were down against the 49ers. He actually, helped them get back into the game instead of just kind of being like, oh, we do what we do. We're just the Chiefs.
More determined, I would say. Honestly, that does wrap up what I had to say about that point.
Yeah.
Interesting, we had two that matched. My next one and my last one, if you're cool with that, is TB12 and Gronk's crew. I'm just going to call it because it's all the old guys that kind of just seem to have joined Tom down there in Florida. We've got not Le'Veon Bell.
Well, I wrote down Gronk as an individual one, so I'll just go over Gronk a little bit during this.
I would love to know that point because as a core group, I have them as shit.
Really?
Yeah, I think you have to look at it all as a package. Jason Pierre-Paul seemed to have played well, but honestly, I don't see him matching this performance next year. Tom Brady,
Are you saying this game they were shit?
Not this game, but just moving forward into next year.
So you're saying the Tampa Bay Gronkaneers future is shit.
Yeah, if
Interesting. Okay.
in this interview when Rob Gronkowski seems to have no interest in retiring, I think the entire group that Tom Brady brought in has that same mentality. Mm-hmm. I think Leonard Fournette, who in my opinion will be a shining part of it, will stay. I think Jason Pierre-Paul stays. Mm-hmm. I think Tom Brady stays. I mean, just all of them. I don't see why any of these guys, like Gronk said, should retire.
Exactly. There's no reason to right now.
But as a package, I don't see it ever reaching the same platform it did this year.
Maybe not. But regardless, I feel like it's important to highlight where they got, at the beginning of this year, it was were they going to make a wild card spot? I definitely had some questions about that. And Gronk scoring 2 touchdowns on, I don't know if they were on consecutive drives, but if they were the consecutive touchdowns for the Buccaneers, he scored both of those. And I think if he scores one more, he's Super Bowl MVP.
Yeah.
Leonard Fournette as well. I think he had around 80-something yards. I think it was 85 or so.
I know he had over 100 between receiving and rushing.
Yeah, he had a great game. And I think if Fournette had one huge run where he just kind of went beast mode for one run, I think he would be MVP.
He would definitely be a candidate for it. I do think unless God came out of the sky and told them to vote for someone else, it would be Brady, just for the story.
I mean, that one year they gave it to Edelman.
Yeah.
So I feel like Gronk would probably be the next in line, and then Fournette if Fournette had a bigger night. But yeah. I just think that the reason why they gave it to TB12 is more not for his play, but it felt like they were more targeting his kind of, I don't even know how you call it, his leadership, I guess.
Leadership was on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's pretty much all I have for those guys. Did you have any other points you wanted to make before we go to the next little topic?
I would like to say in my defense that I did come out harsh. As far as their game, Gronk had an insane game, and I think was a more deserving candidate for MVP.
Yeah, I agree.
Or at least comeback player of the year. I know you couldn't give it
comeback Super Bowl player.
Yeah. If it were a Super Bowl award, because Alex Smith, we'll get to it. But, I think that's it. Is just for this game, they did amazing. I just don't think it will translate to next year.
That's fair. That's a fair prediction. I'm not going to take a stance on that just because I'm not really sure yet. Maybe when I get closer to the draft and see how they do in the draft, I'll be more interested. But as well as the off season, there's got Ndamukong Suh is not going to return probably. He's got to be paid. Maybe he'll take a pay cut and once win the Super Bowl. Who knows?
Yeah.
Who knows? But the last thing we want to talk about with the Super Bowl is the halftime show.
Yeah.
I thought it was pretty okay. I mean, it was underwhelming in my opinion, but I liked it.
Yeah. I would agree with you. There were definitely points where I thought it was very interesting how they used either props or dancers in the small spaces. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure if there was a budget issue or why, but it did seem very underwhelming.
I think the reason it was underwhelming was, it's been a weird year. Now buy a Chevy. No.
We can all agree on that.
It's been a weird year. No. But regardless, the show was a little awkward and weird because I think A, there was no fans, and B, they were trying to limit contact. Yeah. And I love the way that they kind of used the whole masks that they were wearing. Yeah. But and I think I'm sure those were whatever kind of protective masks as well as decorative. These are what
utilizing props.
It was a good way of utilizing props to show that only the Weeknd was the one who had the uncovered face. Obviously he's singing, he can't have a covered face. Yeah. I'm sure all those guys had to quarantine for weeks and weeks.
Yeah, and the choir as well, I think probably under similar guidelines.
Yeah, they had Terminator masks or something.
Yeah, that's insane.
It was super dope. I thought the whole aesthetic of everything was cool. Yeah. I just felt like they didn't want to bring in any more musicians, have Bruno Mars back for the 700th time so he can sing another song that your grandma likes to dance to at the wedding, Regardless, though, I thought the halftime show was good. Maybe just a little underwhelming.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a passing legit. in my book. I think The Weeknd performed very well, which is a really important part of it.
Yeah.
Even beyond just the aesthetic. A lot of lights, a lot of good dancing, and good utilizing of props. So yeah, just a barely legit for me.
I'll give him legit too. I like the show. I just felt like it was a little underwhelming. That was my only gripe. But with that, we wanted to kind of speak on what our favorite shows were. Do you have a favorite show?
There's a few. I think as far as what I've seen live, I don't know if I have one, but overall, I think the Prince one was amazing. Just the way it rained, the purple rain, very, very good one.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Prince one is a legendary one. Honestly, I like the Lady Gaga one a lot.
That was a good one. I was a huge fan.
I'm a big Gaga guy, so I love.
Wow.
I love Lady Gaga. But I thought that was a great show. I thought she just put on a good episode, whatever. A good show.
Yeah,
is what I meant to say. And really was just like, I think at the beginning she like started speaking on like the division in the nation. I want to say it was 2016 when she was doing the Super Bowl show, or maybe it was 2017, the Super Bowl after Trump won the election.
Yeah.
And I think she was just kind of like, there's a lot of division in this country, blah, 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 said stuff like that. And I really liked hearing that. And then she, like, was Gaga, and she was glorious. So that was probably my favorite one. Another one that I want to highlight, though, was Katy Perry's show. There was the Left Shark meme spawned out of that, where the weird little, like, shark that wasn't really dancing.
Yeah.
I remember that being a hilarious moment, and I think I was in middle school. Yeah, it was like 2014.
Just for your brain, Lady Gaga was 2017. That was Super Bowl 51.
Yeah, exactly. So it was right after the election. She gave some unifying comments, and then proceeded to, kill that shit, as the kids say.
Yeah, and Katy Perry's too was definitely good. Quality memes out of that, and just almost over the top in what's completely different than this one.
Exactly. That's why I keep comparing it to the Katy Perry show, because that was probably the craziest one.
It was a lot.
She was on a beach at one point, and then she rode a tiger with like flames coming out of it.
Yeah.
I think she was like on like a little like spaceship thing.
Sharks, trees, dancing.
Exactly. And I think we should give a little highlight to one of the most other underwhelming ones that I saw was Coldplay. I thought that was just like the weirdest Super Bowl like one. Like, why pick Coldplay?
Surely a few people had to say they were busy or couldn't do it. Coldplay couldn't have been the first ballot.
I want Nickelback.
You might get it. You might get it.
If Nickelback does not sing Photograph in between Tom Brady winning his 10th Super Bowl,
11th. It'll have to be his 11th.
He's going to put one of the rings on his pinky toe.
Yeah.
On his son's pinky toe.
No, yeah, that's what it is. This one goes to his son.
Wow. On his son's tongue. It's actually a tongue piercing.
That's so beautiful.
So he can taste the Super Bowl in every bite.
Yeah. With every kiss from... We're getting off topic.
We're digressing. Regardless, though, point at hand, the Coldplay show, I think, was much worse than the Weeknd show.
Very
much
weak.
more underwhelming.
And the Maroon 5 one, I would say, was weird and underwhelming for me.
Yeah. That's how I felt about the Coldplay one. It was just kind of like, why are they here?
Yeah. And if anything, the slam dunk that Maroon 5 had, if they could have done anything with the SpongeBob halftime show sort of thing that people wanted, just sort of that combination.
Sorry to interrupt you, but was Maroon 5 the Eagles Patriots Super Bowl a couple years ago when Travis Scott did the Super Bowl?
I think that's right.
Okay, because I really loved the Travis Scott part, because he like came down on like an asteroid, and like they did like the little SpongeBob part. I liked that part a lot.
I think that's what happened. That was the best part, but they should have just made that the thing. Why is Maroon 5 there? That's what I'm saying. So, yeah,
exactly. I forgot Maroon 5 was there, because I was trying to remember. I was like, which show was Maroon 5? But I remember now. It was Travis Scott, and then they did like a little Maroon 5 section after the little like SpongeBob thing was. But regardless, I love Travis Scott. He's my favorite rapper, and it was so awesome to see him on the big stage, but with You know, these guys who are like,
At what cost?
I'm at a payphone trying to call home.
Yeah.
Please get off the show. You know.
Yeah. I think those are some of my highs and lows, though, of the halftime show. Were there any others that you thought of?
I don't think so. I would say the Michael Jackson one.
Fair.
That was just such like a legendary moment. I think just the whole fans like synchronizing and flipping over the signs and if you haven't never seen the Michael Jackson Super Bowl, he might have done it multiple times. I don't remember, but the one where it was outdoors, and I remember all the fans flipping over their signs for like whatever song that was popular at the time that he was singing. It was just one of the most like breathtaking like moments of a bunch of people working together to make a cool show. It was as much a Michael Jackson show as it was all the NFL fans in the stadium.
Yeah, I think I think he did do 2 or more.
Yeah.
But the one I'm thinking of that you're thinking of is the outdoor one, where doesn't he start on top of the Jumbotron and then slowly comes down into the crowd or something? It's insane. You watch it. Yeah.
He's like an angel of kid diddling.
Just watch the halftime show. But other than those halftime performances, we do want to talk about sort of the performance of the Hall of Fame class of 21. Big names, snuffs, and sort of just the in-betweens.
Absolutely.
Do you have any guy that you want to talk about that either made it or you think should have?
Well, I'd be doing a disservice to every Cowboys fan out there if I didn't speak about Drew Pearson. Not only one of the greatest Cowboy wide receivers of all time, gave the best draft speech for a Cowboys draft pick ever. He picked Chidobe Awuzie in the second round, I believe, in like 2017 or something like that.
Oh, wow.
It was such a good speech, though. There were Eagles fans yelling. He said, "To all the Eagles fans, thank you for giving me such an excellent career. Thank you for allowing me to win so many Super Bowls," or whatever he said. And he said, "In honor of Jerry Jones, Gene Jones, and the Jones family, Jimmy Johnson, whoever," he like listed off like every Cowboys legend. It gives me goosebumps. I'm getting goosebumps like reciting it.
No, that sounds electric.
It was electric. We have to watch it if you haven't seen it.
No, we will. We'll watch it after this. I was so excited that you started with him because I knew you were going to teach me about him.
Drew Pearson, undrafted, by the way.
Wow.
Undrafted. One of the best, like, I think he was the 70s players. Like, one of the best wide receivers to play in the 70s. Didn't make it until now. It's like, come on, dude.
Yeah, from 73 to 83, made first team All-Pro 3 times, 3 Super Bowls. Seems like an absolute stud.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. This dude was an absolute goat. I love Drew Pearson. Caught Roger Staubach passes for the majority of his career. Excellent dude. Excellent just speaker and everything. That's all I got for Drew Pearson.
Well, if you're cool with jumping to the next guy, then I think a fun guy that gets forgotten is Charles Woodson.
Yeah.
Glad to see that he made it. I don't know if this was his first ballot, but 18 seasons as a absolute physical presence in the backfield, the defensive back position, is just incredible. 9 Pro Bowls, 4 first-team All-Pro. Went to a Super Bowl or 2, I think. But Player of the Year, Super Bowl title, just absolute legend. If you haven't ever watched Charles Woodson play, just go watch some of it.
Yeah, Charles Woodson and God, what's the other guy's name? Oh wow. Well, give me a second. Deion Sanders from Charles Woodson are the 2 greatest corners of all time. I find it hard to pick one.
Yeah.
I'm going to be a homer and say Deion Sanders, but Charles Woodson is so close to being the best.
Yeah.
Also, not only Charles Woodson's the only defensive player to win the Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, that is true with Michigan.
Mm-hmm. He was an absolute stud. Stayed a stud into the pros. Stayed a stud when he went to the Packers and then back, or he went to the Packers and to the Raiders and then back to the Packers. Just absolutely stayed true to like just Hall of Fame status the whole time.
Yeah, couldn't agree more with what you said.
Do you want to go ahead and go down the list again?
I think really the only other big guy I want to talk about, other than the obvious, is Calvin Johnson. You know I'm a huge fan. I just felt I needed to go ahead and start mentioning his name.
Yeah, you have to mention one of the greatest wide receivers of all time.
The interesting part for me and Calvin Johnson, though, is just how rare it is. This was his first ballot. How rare it is for a wide receiver to get it, because Reggie Wayne, first eligible year, didn't get it. I think that's somewhat of a snuff. But, I mean, Megatron just came in and dominated for the little time he played, less than 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think he was the only first ballot wide receiver in the last 20 or 25 years other than Jerry Rice and Randy Moss.
Wow, yeah. I mean, you put those guys all in the same, conversation though. Any given Sunday, one of them would have been ahead of the other, If they were all played in the same era at the same time, at the same prime, kind of era.
Yeah.
They would have had, been competing for number one each week.
They get you the same outcome, the same sort of production.
Exactly. I know you were a huge Calvin Johnson homer. I know that's your guy who got you into the NFL.
He got me into the NFL, that's right.
And it's great to see him get on the first ballot. Another first ballot guy that I think is worth highlighting is the sheriff himself. Peyton Forehead Sheriff Manning.
Yeah, my little Tennessee homegrown boy.
Tennessee homegrown boy. Went and portrayed you at the Colts for a few years.
Sure did.
And then went to the Broncos and betrayed Cam Newton's every last hope.
Yeah, and haunting him to this day.
Yeah, I loved all the the legends of Peyton Manning that Pat McAfee spread and all these other commentators, and just seeing him in cowboy hats and the Nationwide commercials. And he's just such a character, and he seems like a sweet guy. But he was also just such a rigid leader. And I don't know. I just love him.
Yeah, and the sort of mystery that revolves around Peyton Manning, because we get just enough, just the right amount of stories, the right amount of commercials. It's not like a Baker Mayfield Hulu extravaganza.
Mm-hmm.
You just get the right amount of Manning.
Yeah, and now that he's been retired, he's when Tom Brady and him and Phil Mickelson and Tiger Woods were doing that golf competition during the major part of quarantine. Peyton Manning was just so electric and hilarious during that, talking crap to Tom Brady, talking just all he wanted to everyone in that whole situation there. So it was so awesome to see all these. It's just great to see the sheriff actually be taken in his first year as it should be. You can't tell the story of the NFL without Peyton Manning, and he deserves to be there.
Yeah, absolutely. An inevitability, but it's refreshing and nice that we're at that time and can relive some of our favorite Peyton Manning moments.
Yeah. Well, the rest of these guys who've made it in, not no names, but not as relevant, I think.
Yeah, we couldn't sit here. We could talk about all of them, but we can't.
Yeah, exactly. But these guys, just real quick to list them off: Alan Faneca, Tom Flores, Bill Nunn, and I believe that was it, and John Lynch. John Lynch was a strong safety for the Bucks.
Drew Pearson. Nope, you talked about Pearson. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, and but a couple of the snubs before we move on to NFL honors is Jared Allen didn't get taken in.
Yeah.
Rondé Barber.
Reggie Wayne, I talked about him earlier.
Zach Thomas.
Zach Thomas is a huge one.
Torrey Holt.
Yeah. Fred Taylor. Clay Matthews.
Yeah.
Patrick Willis.
Wow, that's rough. That's rough to see.
There's still a chance that they get in at a future date, though. But definitely names that you have to get in there.
Yeah, and even last year, one of the opportunities was Bud Adams. Just legendary figures and guys who just need to get in there, guys. Let's just open the floodgates a little bit. Let's do more than what do we have? 8 guys?
Yeah, 8 guys.
I think we can get away with 10.
I think maybe even double it. Maybe 16 guys. There's a lot of guys that are backing up.
I agree. I don't know. I feel like I'm disappointed by not seeing some of these legends in here. I feel like it shouldn't be based off how many can be in. I think it should be based off how legendary are you. Like,
Yeah.
I could not tell you a single thing about Alan Fenica.
Yeah.
I don't even know if I'm saying his name right.
Yeah, but he produced, and we have to look at that for each guy, not just say 8 guys.
I don't know. I guess there should be a limit on it. Because you want to... I don't know. Regardless...
I don't think there should be a minimum, but I do think there should be a maximum. But 8 is too little for the current NFL.
Yeah. As long as these guys eventually get in, I won't be too upset. But, you know, these guys, like Zach Thomas, you have to have Zach Thomas.
Yeah, Clay Matthews.
Clay Matthews Jr.
Rondé Barber. I mean, these...
Jared Allen. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta have these guys in here.
What's 4 more this year just to continue the flow next year? Because it's going to start building up. But we could beat this horse to death.
Exactly. And I'm sure we will in subsequent years when we see more snubs happen.
Oh, I'm sure.
Regardless, though, let's go ahead and move on to our final topic of the day. I feel like I've said regardless a lot.
It happens. Sometimes we just stick on a word.
I don't know.
No one's going to hold it against you.
I guess I feel like I'm smart or something. It's a big boy word.
It is. Five head.
It's a 5-head word. Let's go to the NFL Honors Awards. Lots of big names taken in this year's class. Did I accidentally get rid of my list? I did. Well, I got it pulled up again. Starting off with our Rookie of the Year.
I think we agree.
Justin Herbert. I think that's a great option.
Yeah.
I couldn't see them picking anyone else.
Yeah.
Besides the Vikings wide receiver.
Justin Jefferson. Was just about to say Justin Jefferson maybe could touch it, but what Herbert accomplished in less than 16 games.
Yeah, as well, he's also Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Yeah.
Not surprising.
No.
I don't know. Does he deserve both? I feel like if you're going to give him Rookie of the Year, you shouldn't give him all. Do they determine it between the offensive and defensive guy?
I mean, they do have a Defensive Rookie of the Year guy, which I agree with. But yeah. I don't think you should double dip. I agree with you. If you get Rookie of the Year, someone else, obviously then you were Offensive or Defensive Rookie of the Year. Just give it to someone else.
Yeah, exactly. And let's keep moving down these Rookie of the Years, actually, with Justin Herbert getting the offense and Chase Young from Washington getting the defensive one. Just absolutely came out as a star leader. I don't think we have any gripes with any of these guys.
No.
Either of these guys, if you will.
Yeah. I think what you said is the best descriptor, and that's leader.
Mm-hmm.
You see him rally those people on the sideline, in the huddle. I think he's going to get a lot more awards than just Rookie of the Year.
Yeah, exactly. And Defensive Player of the Year, just go ahead and put another one in the books for himself. Aaron Donald. Who else? Besides maybe a TJ Watt. But, he's not as good as Aaron Donald.
So we're here. I've been waiting to ask you that all week, or at least since the honors. It hasn't been a week. But I think TJ Watt should have got it here.
I disagree. I think if you disappear as soon as the other guy, Bud Dupree, the other defensive lineman that was rushing the passer for the most part with TJ Watt, as soon as he disappears, so does TJ Watt. Come on, you have to be. Aaron Donald could play, on the worst defensive line in the NFL and still dominate. He's just such an electric figure. It doesn't matter what game, what week. It was always Aaron Donald's the main threat. You scheme for Aaron Donald. You don't scheme for TJ Watt.
You definitely scheme for him. That's true. Often resulting in triple or double coverage at least on the line, which is true. TJ Watt doesn't have to deal with the same complications to his work as Aaron Donald. But I think this year the NFL contained Aaron Donald better than they have before. And statistically, he's not the best defensive guy. It doesn't feel right to say. It doesn't feel right to say. Sorry, we're dropping glass. Dropping truth and dropping glass. TJ Watt beats him in almost every single stat line. I know he doesn't have to deal with multiple people, but if you can achieve as an offensive line, if you were to stop Aaron Donald.
Sorry, breaking news on the podcast. Mr. Beast has a burger at McDonald's.
I didn't.
It's his burger joint, I think.
Wait,
Mr. Beast has his
bunch of
own
locations.
restaurant.
wait, Mr. Beast has a burger
Yes,
joint?
and I guess there's one in Murfreesboro.
What?
Wow.
Oh, I thought it was McDonald's.
So he has his own. That's more.
I thought it was just the Mr. Beast burger, like the Travis Scott burger. Oh my gosh.
We will have
Oh,
to.
it's like an actual establishment.
Yeah, we'll have to get the people this news maybe on Twitter or something. But that is breaking. That's insane. Thank you.
Sorry.
No, they had to do that.
Yeah, no, we had to get it to the people as soon as possible.
If the gospel speaks, you have to share it.
You're just a part of what the Lord's doing now.
Mr. Beast's prophet.
But to get back on the NFL,
Yeah.
I just think TJ Watt this year, although he didn't have to face the same offensive line complications, got it done. Aaron Donald didn't. I think we're overthinking what this award should be.
I would have given it to him if TJ Watt didn't disappear as soon as Bud Dupree was off the field. I felt like TJ Watt was like, oh, electric. He loses his other star, and he's like, I don't know. I feel like every time I heard TJ Watt's name, it was Bud and TJ. It was never just TJ Watt's electric. It was always Bud Dupree and TJ Watt.
And that's fair. I will have to go back and watch a little more of Aaron Donald and what he was able to achieve as an individual, because TJ Watt did disappear when he didn't have his help. Aaron Donald has shown no matter what's around, he can be the nucleus of a defense and continue to get production out of other guys. I'll agree with you there 100%.
Yeah. Keeping it moving down the list, let's go to the Offensive Player of the Year, Derrick Henry. Just go ahead and throw another one in the closet for my man.
Yeah.
Excellent dude. Totally deserves it.
Yeah. Back-to-back running back of the year and now offensive player of the year. Hopefully more to come.
Exactly. Let's go next to the Sportsmanship Award. I didn't know this existed. Teddy Bridgewater gets the Sportsmanship Award, which is awesome because I believe he sat out one game this year for they were trying to see what they had in PJ Walker. I think he was injured as well.
Yeah.
But they also, he's a good guy. If anyone deserves it, it's Teddy Bridgewater. He's, if not comeback player of the year, he deserved some sort of recognition just for his whole arc coming back from that injury he had with the Vikings. But speaking of comeback player of the year, Alex Smith, old Frankenleg, got the comeback player of the year.
Good for him.
Yeah, I still have yet to see the documentary, but I'm very impressed with just learning about his story and how he is able to come back from all that.
Yeah, from surgeries required to complications with surgery to infections of surgery to new team drafting a rookie quarterback. There's just so much to overcome, and there he was on Sunday.
Yeah, an impressive guy. It was very awesome just to see him start again. I think instantly he got sacked by Aaron Donald in one of his first snaps.
Yeah.
But it's awesome just to see that guy back in action. All right, let's see who is next.
That'll be assistant coach of the year.
Oh yeah, should we do coach of the year first or assistant coach? We'll just go. We'll do both. We'll just do assistant and then coach.
Yeah. Both are great candidates.
Yeah, assistant coach of the year is Brian Dable, offensive coordinator of the Buffalo Bills. Excellent year for the Bills. They had a great scheme for that offense. Josh Allen finally coming on the scene as the star that he should have been.
Yeah. Getting Stephon Diggs helps, but having a good scheme is the concrete foundation that has to be there for those talented players. And I don't think there's any question as far as progression goes from last year to this year that Josh Allen and that entire Bills offense aren't the clear-cut winners. as far as what they are now and what they were at the end of last season.
Yeah, and it's a total like 180 for that team. So I'm a fan of that pick. But who's our coach of the year, Dallas?
Our coach of the year, I hate to say it, is Cleveland Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski.
It's so well deserved, though.
It's very well deserved. I have to give credit where credit's due. And they may have turned the entire sort of stigma around the Cleveland Browns around.
Yeah, I agree. I think that Kevin Stefanski has totally revamped this entire team, totally thrown everything that everyone thought about this team on its head. I'm very happy for him. I think it's an excellent selection. I don't know, like, who else do you pick? Kevin Stefanski, like, who is the comparison?
Yeah.
I don't think you pick a Bruce Arians. I don't think you pick a Andy Reid. It's just
No.
It had to be Kevin Stefanski just for the legendary historical way that he turned around this entire franchise.
Yeah.
In a year.
And we've seen the Browns get success, at least in the short term, in the last few years. But it didn't feel quite right. It didn't seem like it was here to stay. Kevin Stefanski, I think, is here to stay, and the Browns are probably a playoff team for the next 3 to 5 years.
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and give off some more of the more interesting nominations and picks.
Yeah, just rapid them.
I'm gonna do the two more interesting ones that I think are interesting, and then give off. I think I actually just screwed myself over with this. Look at that. I hit the wrong button. No.
Are you looking to get some information, friend?
Yes.
Some knowledge?
Oh, look at that. We have another screen so I can read this. Going off next with the... Who was it? The MVP. Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers. Both of our selections, I believe, at the beginning of this podcast. So it's awesome to see us be right once again. Congrats to us.
Feels nice.
And Aaron Rodgers, I guess.
Yeah. Tired of winning, I think is how I would describe it for myself.
Yeah. Tom Brady and us, we have a lot in common.
There's a lot in common.
We don't kiss our sons, but we do win a lot.
If I had a son.
I'd be playing the smooch. One at least.
Yeah, but...
On the forehead.
Other than smooching sons, the other awards.
Yes, the other awards that we were going to talk about. The Hail Murray touchdown pass from Kyler Murray to DeAndre Hopkins. Excellent moment in this year.
That's clutch.
It was... You have to bring that up.
Yeah.
Washed up pass rusher TJ Watt winning the Deacon Jones Award. I'm just kidding, TJ. We love you.
Yeah, still young, and maybe defensive player will come around.
I'm just mad that the Cowboys drafted Taco Charlton when he was available.
Yeah, I'm mad too. There was a lot that... I was screaming, he's a Watt. Just draft him, I believe, around that time.
Nice. Yeah. The Bud Light Celly of the Year. The celebration from Chase Claypool. I don't even know what he did. He probably hit the nay-nay and was selected for the Pro Football Hall of Fame. The breakout fantasy player of the year was Josh Allen.
Good for him.
Yeah, I mean, good for him. I think it's a weird
one.
It's a weird one. But he's fantasy player of the year. It's kind of like, oh, you're so good. I won $5 from my boss.
Yeah.
It's kind of like...
Eat it, suckers. Josh Allen took me to my fantasy...
And I feel like it's a little disrespectful to Josh Allen. It's like, oh, you're good, but like... Your fantasy player good. Like you're like the David Johnson.
Yeah. You could have just called it the breakout player of the year.
Exactly. I feel like that's probably the more apt name for what Josh Allen did this year because he was electric. MVP talk most of the year. Keeping it moving down the list, we'll go second to last with the fan of the year, the Tennessee Titans fan Brandon Galloway.
We have great fans.
You know what? I have no idea who you are, Mr. Galloway, but shout out to you. You're a Tennessee Titans fan, and that's awesome. So that's all I can really ask for from the fan of the year.
Just doing what we can.
Exactly. Keep it moving. Keep it moving. Walter Payton, NFL Man of the Year, is the Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson. I don't know what he did. I'm sure he did a lot for charity. It's great to see them keep recognizing good charitable figures in the NFL. So that's exciting. But that was all the NFL honors this year. I think that's basically all we have for this week as well.
Yeah, I mean, somewhat of a shorter episode, but, only one football game to talk about. It's been slow in the NBA.
Yeah, there was some good stuff to talk about, but I think that's all. Make sure I'm not missing anything from notes. Nope, I think we are good then. As always, thank you all for watching very much, or listening, I guess. Watching the beautiful slides we make as well.
Yeah.
But that is going to be all for this week. We'll be back next week on Monday as well. My name is Jeff.
I'm Dallas.
Have a good one, guys.